Hi, my name is Ryan. Welcome to RCAM. We're up to episode number 10, and we have a lot to talk about in this episode. There's going to be a lot I'm going to be covering specifically with the topic of pedophilia. Yeah, I did not think I would ever have to really, I'd hoped that I would not have to make a video explaining why pedophilia is wrong. I think it should be a common thing, something universally accepted that sleeping with little girls or little boys is wrong. But evidently our culture does not seem to take the hint. And there are some people that are pushing for the normalization of pedophilia, which I find really, really disconcerting. There's also a video, which is what I want to kind of start on. So there was a video that was going around. Apparently the UK has this show called Age Gap Love, and there was a video going around of a 44-year-old man who started to date a 16-year-old girl who he eventually married. Very, very disturbing and very uncomfortable. I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick clip from that video. Here it is.
It's the start of the summer holidays, and for this age gap couple, a chance to unwind.
Love camping because it's peace and quiet. I'm Andy and I'm 47.
And I'm Beth and I'm 19.
Their 28-year age gap may make them look like father and daughter, but they are every bit a married couple.
Oh, my dearly beloved is going to set up the doghouse. When I get told off, I'll have to go and live in the tent for a bit.
Andy was originally a friend of Beth's mum, and over the years became close to her children too.
Yeah, that's kind of uncomfortable. I'm sorry for those of you who had to see that. I was uncomfortable watching it. So I want to predicate what I'm about to say with this. I don't think there's necessarily an issue with people having an age gap. There are lots of people I know that there's a gap between them. But typically, the gap is when they're adults. This is different. This is a gap between a 44-year-old man and a 16-year-old girl. In the States, if a 44-year-old man engages in sexual activity with a 16-year-old girl, we call that statutory rape. And it's wrong, and it's sick, and it's weird, and it's strange. And I'm very concerned about this because I feel like our culture is starting to normalize this kind of behavior. Why would and the video was weird because it has like this whimsical music, like, haha, this is good, like, enjoy, like, this is a normal thing. But it's not normal. It's strange, it's weird, and it's uncomfortable, and we should be radically opposed to it. So for my viewers that are watching this, I feel like often we're intimidated by people not to speak our mind about these types of issues, but we have to. When something's wrong, we can say that it's wrong. We can say that's not okay. That's not acceptable. That there's something wrong here. There's nothing wrong with calling a spade a spade. Now, what I will say is that as a Christian, we should not be condemning people. We should not be chastising them in such a way where they feel like they're irredeemable. Now, if I were to sit face to face with this man, I would never say what he was doing was okay, ever. No way, not happening. But I would tell him that what he's doing is wrong, but I would say, hey, but there's good news. Jesus Christ loves you, he died for you, and you can find redemption in him. And I would encourage a man to turn away from his sin and follow Jesus, but that does not mean, though, that if he broke the law or did something illegal, that he would not be responsible for owning the consequences of what he has done. And I think that's part of repentance, is taking responsibility for the things that you have done. So that's what I would probably say to this man if I were face to face. But publicly, I'm gonna say something about it. You know, and I think we really ought to do this, because when we are silent, when we say nothing, this is how evil pervades our society. This is how things like pedophilia become socially acceptable, because we were too quiet and too scared and too intimidated by the mob to say anything. And I'm not going to be that guy. When I see something wrong in society, I'm going to call it wrong. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to offer people a path toward redemption, because I believe that every person can come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, and every person can be saved from their sins. But they have to make a choice. They have to reject their old way of life and follow Christ. And I think in doing so, they can be redeemed. But they should also face the full penalty of the law for whatever country they're in. But this is just one example of many examples of the rise of pedophilia in our culture. And the thing about this situation that makes it so particularly disturbing is that this guy was friends with the family. So they had a discussion where they talked about moving their relationship to the next level. I just want to read a little bit of an article posted by, it's called metro.co.uk is the name of the website. And there's a quote in here that I want to share with you guys because I found it interesting. Andy was originally a friend of Beth's mom and became close to her children over the years. We are all like one happy family, he admitted, but needless to say, I didn't know that Beth was getting these thoughts, that she wanted to me to be her happy man forever sort of thing, you know? It wasn't until Beth reached the age of 16 that the duo started to discuss their taking their friendship to the next level. So what I'm gathering from this is that this guy was probably grooming this girl prior to her being 16. It's very weird when you decide to start to date somebody that you consider family. It's a little awkward, a little weird. And then especially when this girl is underage. This guy is 44. We're not talking about, you know, a 17-year-old dating a 14-year-old. We're talking about a 44-year-old man dating a 16-year-old girl. And now she's 19, I believe, and now they have 2 kids. Very, very awkward and very uncomfortable. Yeah, I think this we might see more things like this. And I think, like, imagine if this happened in the States. It would be a completely different. We've seen the headlines actually in the States. Local teacher gets caught sleeping with 16-year-old girl, and suddenly he is now labeled a pedophile. He's been fired from his job, and he's being sentenced to prison. You know, that's how we treat pedophiles here in the United States, and rightfully so. They should go to prison for engaging in sexual acts with a minor. That's called statutory rape. And I don't know how on earth, I think it was Channel 5, why they thought this was okay to run this story. I'm glad they did, because now we know. But it's just really weird, guys, and really uncomfortable. And I encourage you, when you see these sort of things, say something, speak out. If you see someone growing a little too close with your kids and he's older, love is not love. I think there is a line we need to draw, and we need to really protect our kids and keep them away from predators. How a lot of sex traffickers work is they will start to groom kids when they're young, get them close, make them think they're their friends, and then ultimately end up betraying them. And I just think this is just the beginning of things to come, which is why this video is titled Rise of Pedophilia, because we're going to see it rise, we're going to see it increase, and I think in the not so distant future, we're going to see people advocating for the right to sleep with children. Maybe you think, hey, that's extreme, Ryan. I don't think so. I think that's the direction that we're going. I think it's pretty obvious, and there's a couple other stories that I'm going to highlight in this video about why I think that. So I don't want my claim to be unfounded. There's a reason I think this. It is a pattern of things occurring in our culture that are not normal, that are strange, that are abstract, and that we should, as a culture, resist. So the next video that we're going to get into is an article that was released by a website called The Bridgehead, and they uploaded a video, or shared a video, of an up-and-coming show or movie called Drag Kids. And this trailer highlights several different up-and-coming drag kids. I'll go ahead and show you the trailer now.
He'd live in sequins, he'd live in makeup. I think he'd like his life to be like that permanently. You know, living on a show bus with his dressing up and his makeup and going to the next gig. That would be him, perfectly.
When you have somebody who's that focused and knows their own mind, it's kind of like you get to guide them, but you don't get to direct them.
I would love for Nemes to just be able to not have to explain why he's wearing lipstick or like why he's got nail polish on, or just to hang out with kids who totally get each other.
You know, some kids just don't understand where he's coming from, and that's okay. But to find kids who are just like him, with the heels and the makeup and the clothes and dancing and singing, it's like a piece of a puzzle that has all come together now.
Other thing that really bothers me was, getting called a child abuser and that we're, sexualizing them.
It's about expression. You are the art, and it's extreme. Look at the Sistine Chapel. If that isn't extreme, what is?
Especially we're in the middle of the Bible Belt. There's a lot of homophobic, racist people, but he has a good support system.
I don't want to be mad at you. Tomorrow is the drag performance. Do you feel ready?
I actually love drag. So I feel like my makeup isn't looking great today.
Yeah. Another really uncomfortable video. I'm sure there are some people watching this that think like, what's the matter with that? That's fine. That's just a kid expressing themselves. But there's a lot wrong with it. It is the sexual exploitation of a child, a little boy. And I find it odd that most of these kids they're drag kids are all little boys. Always little boys. And it's really, not that I want it to happen to little girls, but I feel like little boys are being targeted, and I think it's sick, and I think it's wrong, and I think we as a culture need to resist this. So if you were paying attention to this video, you will have noticed a woman said, "What really bothers me about this is being called a child abuser and being accused of sexualizing them." And she says this at the moment on screen. We see a child sprawled out on the floor sexually, in a sexual manner, and I think that's really, really disturbing. That they can't even see that what they're doing is sexualizing children, which it is. And I think that is a huge, huge problem that needs to be addressed. It's so painfully obvious that this is the sexual exploitation of a child. And this is just one of many examples. So we saw this is Vice News promoting this. Huffington Post promoted another one with the kid Desmond is amazing, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was a video going out a while back about this kid Desmond, this 11-year-old drag kid. Which what 11-year-old naturally wants to just do drag? I don't know no one. No 11-year-old naturally wants to do drag, which leads me to believe that the parents are encouraging this type of behavior, that this is something that the parents want and have exposed the child to. And I think that that drag, in whether you agree that this is wrong or not, I think most of us can agree that drag is sexual. It always seems to come off sexual, and that little kids probably shouldn't be doing it. Now, if you're an adult and you want to do drag, all right, you do you. But these are children. These are little kids. They're gonna be whoever you want them to be. And that's why it's important that we protect them, that we shield them from sexualization, and that we don't encourage them to do so. And this is what we're seeing here in this video. We're seeing kids encouraged and celebrated to act in a sexual manner, and I think that is just crazy. These are kids. These are children. Dressing up in heels and wearing low-cut shirts. I wouldn't encourage this if this was a little girl. So encouraging little boys to put on wigs, put on crazy makeup, wear low-cut shirts, and sprawl out on the floor in a sexual manner, I think is wrong. I think it is child abuse, and I think it is promoting pedophilia. Anyway, back to Desmond. So Desmond was at a bar, I believe it was Desmond, and he was dancing on stage in a sexual manner, and people are throwing dollar bills at him. Like, that's something adults do at a strip club. I don't endorse that either, just to let you know. I'm not okay with that. And I'm especially not okay with a child doing it. And grown-ups not sitting there celebrating it and partaking in it and being involved in it is wrong. And then, God, there's so many examples. There was a photo published. I'll show it, and viewer discretion advised. If you're around a child, don't let them watch this. Don't let them see this. But I'm going to show an image of a child standing next to a drag performer who's naked. So here it is. I don't know who approved this, but there is never a scenario where it's okay for a child to pose in a photo with a grown adult naked. There's never a situation where that is acceptable. It's not. It's wrong. It's just so demented. And I can just imagine that people are out here celebrating, saying that kid is brave and that man is brave, but they're not. That is so plainly wrong and disturbing. And it's perverting these children. These children that will be anything that you want them to be. Man, if a kid is being celebrated for doing a certain thing and all the adults around them are okay with it, he's going to think, like, oh, that's okay. Like, that's, that it's fine. But it's not fine. We should not be celebrating it. And these people that are exploiting these children need to be told so. It needs to be pointed out that what they're doing is obviously wrong, and we should have no part in it. And just another example, and it's these examples that lead me to believe that pedophilia is being normalized. There was another video. It was at a gay pride parade of a kid like an 11-year-old kid twerking. And I just watched, and I was just, like appalled. And what was more appalling is not that the kid is doing this. It's that there are adults around the kid celebrating that he's doing this. Encouraging him to do this. You know, it's a crazy world we're living in now, that this type of behavior is considered normal, and that it's often celebrated, and it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be something called drag kids. We shouldn't have a show that's dedicated to following the lives of drag kids. Drag children should not concern themselves with dancing on stage for the approval of men. And I think, I think some of these parents, they've seen an opportunity to make money, and they're capitalizing on it. They're capitalizing on the sexual exploitation of their children. And I just think that is just so awful. And, I just think this is crazy, guys. And, I encourage you, I really encourage you to speak out against this, and speak out in love. I think that's one thing that we can get caught up in, our strong feelings against this, that we forget that the people that are guilty of doing this are broken and are hurting and are damaged and are in need of a savior. They desperately need the gospel, and we need to be the hands and feet of Jesus and show compassion toward these people. Now, again, I'm not saying that they should not meet whatever consequences of the law are there for them. They absolutely should, and we should not go around. Love doesn't mean approving this behavior. No, it's wrong. and you clearly tell them it's wrong and why it's wrong. But then remind them that there is a way for them to be saved, a way for them to be redeemed. But that means having a hard conversation and saying something that maybe the rest of the world doesn't want to hear. But I think it needs to be said. I think we need to speak out against this type of stuff. And we need to protect our kids. Our kids are impressionable. This is permeating every aspect of our culture. There are even cartoons now promoting drag kids. And I just think, how far have we come? How far have we descended into evil? That we would go around celebrating this type of stuff. So that is all I have for today. Very heavy topic. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for giving this a listen. Again, if you like and enjoy the content that you're seeing, go ahead and give this video a like, comment on it, and share. That actually really helps me out, especially with YouTube. YouTube has a crazy algorithm where liking and commenting and sharing really help drive the engagement and the reach of the video. So that would help me out a great deal. And as always, have a blessed day. Deuces.